Welcome back to the Filmbrew channel. I am your host, Brody Mascarenas. Sadly, today missing my other host, but that's okay, as today we're trying something new. Drive-in. This is Filmbrew presents drive-in reviews, which basically are just quick, out-of-the-theater reviews, meaning the film we're going to talk about today, I just saw a couple hours ago. I'm here, and I'm going to talk about it. Yeah, that's basically what it is. But, of course, like with most content on this channel, it comes with certain things. So, trust me, just, strap in. So, yeah. I wonder how that's going to come out on the mic. So, strap in. Get yourself a liquid death. Light yourself a candle. And just sit down for a few minutes with me while we talk about some films. And, of course, today's film we're going to be talking about for the first episode of the series, which I'm really excited. I think it's a pretty cool thing we're going to be talking about, which is the new Ty West film, X. That's some good stuff. I mean, what goes better alongside a film, besides like popcorn and everything, a fine liquid death. I'm not sponsored by Liquid Death, but I'm just saying, if you're watching, we would never sell ourselves out to a corporation whatsoever. Anyways, I'm also sorry if the production quality isn't as good as others videos on the channel is. Again, we're trying something new. I'm alone for this one. And my great co-host has my light. The light we use for most of our videos. He has it. It's occupied with him. It's not my fault. Take it up with him, not me. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at myself right now on the camera, and I don't know how well I look. I don't know if the light is really... Doesn't matter. This video isn't much about how it looks. It's more about the content within it. So let's stop wasting time and just go into that. X is a 2022 film. It just came out. It's directed by Ty West, who you may know from the VHS films, or the director of the House of the Devil, which a film I saw quite a few years ago, like when I was a kid, a young child. I haven't seen it since then. I really do want to watch it. Watching this film, if anything, made me want to rewatch House of the Devil, because I don't really remember much about it. It could be interesting to go back and watch it. I think I'll do that soon. But anyways, so yeah, X is a new film that just came out, and it is quite interesting. Again, this is out of a theater review. It stars Mia Goth and some other people. Scott Mescudi, Kid Cudi. Y'all know him. He's in it. And also some other stars that this is my first experience with, so it was cool seeing some new actors I've never seen before. Which I'm sure like they're known somewhere else. I could be saying that, and then someone out there would be like, actually, they're in this, they're in that. I'm sorry. I haven't seen every film in the world, I'm part of a film dedicated YouTube channel, but that does not mean I've seen every film out there. I'm sorry. But yes, so yeah, today we're going to be talking about X. Again, so Mia Goth, I'm a big fan of recently. I've seen her in High Life and Suspiria and other stuff, and she was great in both, And this film, again, is incredible in this film. She has two parts in this film she plays, and she plays them both extremely well. I think she was definitely the standout star of this film. Before getting into anything more, we'll start there. The other performances were they were fine. So I guess this is a good place to get into the performances. Overall, the performances were sort of standard performances. There's nothing great from anyone. I think Kid Cudi did a good job, They weren't bad performances per se, but they weren't anything for me to really spend some time talking about, if that makes sense. So I don't mean that in any negative way. The performances weren't bad. Again, they were just nothing for me to really spend some time on. But what is pretty cool we could talk about is the gore in this film, if that is something we want to get into right now. Because I guess off the bat, I just want to say this film was fun. Well, I would start with the performances, talking about all those, And I guess the only way to continue on some of this film is just straight up saying this is a fun film. It is a fun movie. So with everything I'm about to say, anything else I'll get into, keep in mind that I thought this film was fun. My overall opinion that this film is a fun movie. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed my experience in theaters. I had a fun time watching it. So keep that in mind. This movie's ridiculous. No, I'm. Anyways, so yeah, let's get more into it. So it's a film about, of course, these adult filmmakers going out someplace in Texas. I think it was Texas, and they rent out this place. They shoot their films, and shit just goes crazy. Some old people get jealous. What can I say? You know, that's all I can really say. Some old people be watching, and they're like, "Hey, if we can't do it, you can't." That's basically what it is, and it's such a weird concept. This film is a really weird, on paper and on screen concept. Like it, there's so much of it that just is so bizarre. But I appreciate that. As much as I think a lot of this film needed work, I think the writing needed a lot of work. Um, the writing wasn't. I think the writing was my least favorite part of this film, but I have to appreciate, you know, what this did. You know, as in terms that had these ideas and it just went with them. Does that make sense? Like it's when you watch a film and that Ty West guy had some ideas and he went for them. That's what this film is. He had some ideas and he just did it. And I appreciate that. Again, besides the fact if I thought it was bizarre choices at times, if I thought, okay, that was a little strange or I didn't agree with everything that was happening, it was still just, I appreciate it from a filmmaking perspective and simply seeing this filmmaker use these ideas that he had and just made a film out of it. And the fact that a film like this got funded and got released is inspiring in a strange way, because it's like if a film like this can get funded, what can't? You know, take that with a grain of salt, though. It's nothing too experimental, but it has a very original tone to it. It's keeping originality alive, is what. Shout out to A24, first of all. Shout out to Ty West, but A24 for simply putting this film out and allowing Ty West to do what he wanted to do. And they let him do whatever he wanted to do. And you'll know what I'm talking about when you see this film. So yeah, I really think that is really cool. Also, back to the performances, I don't know why I didn't bring it up. Jenna Ortega surprisingly wasn't that bad compared to her performance in Scream 2022, another film that came out earlier this year, which I thought her performance was one of the worst things about that film. But she wasn't too shabby in this. I think she has potential to be a better actress, and especially in this horror genre. I hope she continues on. Scream was a flop, her performance at least, and I like Scream 2022. I'm not ashamed to say it. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but her performance in this film wasn't too bad. I really actually enjoyed it, and for the most part. But yeah, anyways, what I was saying, this film has writing issues. This film is messy. It's weird. It's bizarre. But it is keeping originality alive, is what I feel. After watching the film, the biggest takeaway I took was that, damn, anyone could go out there and make a film. If you got the resources, any story you could come up with. Creativity is well and alive, especially in the film era right now. It is well and alive, and that is a good thing, and that makes me happy. Especially as an aspiring filmmaker, that makes me happy right now. And so watching films like this, that's great. That's like a really incredible thing, and it makes me happy. And I'm looking forward to the future. Here's to the future of film. Film and cinema is long from dying. Independent cinema will stay alive forever. Moving on from all that, I guess my other criticisms are big things to talk about from this film would be, some tone changes here and there that feel weird. It goes from sad to happy to funny to scary to sad to scary, funny, scary, whatever, weird, bizarre. It just feels weird. I think it could have been a little written a little bit. Or again, that goes into the writing, I suppose. But yeah, it's weird. There's scenes in this film that's like, okay, I guess you're supposed to make me scared. Or are you trying to make me sad? I almost had an existential crisis halfway through this film. It's bizarre. There's some bizarre choices in there, but something I would say is that I enjoy a very unique, unpredictable, strange film. Even though there were some cliches here and there, but I'll let them pass for just how bizarre the concept is. Than a cliche-filled, predictable plot. So even if this film isn't structured so well in terms of tone and writing, I still appreciate it in terms that it is so bizarre in what it does, and I'm able to forgive it for that. And going on from that, I know I said this film is keeping originality alive, but I think a big thing more than that is it's keeping creative horror alive. It reminded me a lot of like grindhouse films or like early late 70s, early 80s exploitational films, horror films. And that's cool to see a film like this in 2022, reminiscent of that age of horror films. So that's super cool to see. And yeah, I think overall, as a horror film, it's really cool. If you're a fan of Grindhouse or a fan of those exploitational horror films and you want to see that revamped in this day of age, I think X does an excellent job of that. I think X as a film overall is very flawed. It's a little messy, but from that perspective, looking at it from that perspective, if you want to go out and see a film reminiscent of that, and just a original film right now, especially in a day where a lot of horror films feel like remakes. But I'm not gonna be one of those persons. Oh, horror films these days are awful. That's not true. I think we're living in a great age of horror. Hardcore fans would get mad at me for saying that, but the truth is, you gotta open your mind. We are living in a beautiful age of horror films. The Lighthouse, Midsummer, Hereditary, X now. We're getting so many great horror films. Original horror films. And this is just another one on the list. Do I think it's as good as the other films I mentioned? Not really. I think the writing was off. Again, the tone changes were weird. But the directing was pretty good, and the performances weren't anything to really complain about. And it's a really fun time. And I think this is an important film to go out and support. Even this film could turn so many audiences off, but if you are a believer in cinema and just a supporter of independent filmmaking and want to keep artists true to their work and want to help films like this continue to be made and funded, please go support this film. Please go watch X by Ty West. Even if you won't like it, you just got to go support it. Even if I think it was just an okay film, I'm preaching out there to go support this film, because the biggest thing I took away from this film was how creative it was in its filmmaking. It really didn't hold back with whatever ideas he had going on in his head. He just went for them, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here for artists and filmmakers to make films, just any ideas they got, and they want to express themselves that way, they just go for it. That's important to me. So please go support this film. And also, if you want to see a more in-depth review of what I thought about X, because maybe this was a little messy. Again, this is the first time I'm trying this, and this was a little, like the film X, very unstructured. And so I'm sorry about that. But if you want to see more of my thoughts about it, I'll leave a link here and in the description of where I write my articles and my reviews on films. Please go check those out. And so hopefully maybe we'll get even a Filmbrew podcast on this film one day. That would be cool. If my host goes out and see it, we'll totally do that. That'd be really cool to do. But yeah. So that was this. X, Ty West, a Boogie Nights meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. If that doesn't get you in the seats, I don't know what will. X. Pretty fun film. I'd give it probably a 7 out of 10. This has been Drive-In Film Brew. And just quick out of the theater reviews. Again, bear with me here. This is my first time doing this. I'm sure we'll get a hand in this. But I need your hand in my hand for us to get a hand on what we're doing. Get it? Okay. Go grab your liquid devs. Go watch X. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Filmbrew Presents Drive-In Reviews. I gotta edit the shit out of this.